So today we are making a cracked wheat pilaf. It's kind of like a rice pilaf, but cracked wheat is way better for us. It prevents spikes in our blood sugar, it's full of fiber, a lot of vitamins and minerals, and it's really, really nutritious. Keeps you full for a lot longer. And the product I'm talking about is none other than this. So here it is, cracked wheat. When you parboil this, it's referred to as bulgur. When it's not boiled, it's cracked wheat. So it's an alternative to rice, and it's a whole grain, so it's really good for you. So for this recipe, you're gonna need half an onion. I am using a Walla Walla sweet onion. You're gonna need 2 cloves of garlic. You're also gonna need half a can of chickpeas. I have drained the aquafaba from here. Here they are, my chickpeas. I'm a vegetarian, so I love the extra protein that these provide me. We're gonna need some salt. Finally, some mild pepper paste. This comes in hot also. So definitely buy the mild one, just so it stays kind of neutral. We're also gonna need some tomato paste. Here's my tomato paste. I love this brand. It's an Italian brand, very, very concentrated, really good tomato flavor. I'm gonna use some ALEPPO pepper. Here's ALEPPO pepper, really delicious, not too hot. And then finally, some dried mint. Here's my dried mint. I grow this myself and dry it. It's gonna add a wonderful aroma. Secret ingredient, just a pinch of cinnamon. I love cinnamon when it goes in my tomato and pepper dishes. It just adds for that complexity of flavor. So here it is. Awesome. And finally, sweetening agent, 1 carrot. This is just an organic carrot. We're gonna grate it in and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, first things first. We need a olive oil that you can cook at a high smoke point. So I am using some virgin olive oil. Of course, this is not extra virgin. I need to be able to cook it at high heat. So we're gonna start with this. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce some extra virgin olive oil a little later in the cooking process. Okay, so this is entirely a vegan dish. You can eat this with, we'll chat a little bit later on how we're gonna dress it up. So a couple toppings, but the dish itself is entirely vegan, very good for you. Okay, so let's get started. So get a pot, something that you cook rice in. I'm gonna put it on medium heat. Now I don't recommend a rice cooker, only because it's hard to cook the onions down in the rice cooker. Otherwise, you could have tried to do it in a rice cooker, but I recommend any pot that you use to cook rice, stovetop for sure. Okay, so to my pot, I'm gonna add some olive oil, a couple tablespoons. Okay. Now, as that heats up, I'm gonna go ahead and chop my onions. So nice and fine. So I got half of my sweet onion here. Okay, I'm also gonna chop my garlic kind of coarse. So it looks like I'm using 4 cloves. It's actually 2 regular size cloves. So I have 2 that are really small. So I'm using 4, as you can see here. Perfect, okay. So my oil looks like it's starting to sizzle, and I want to make sure it's hot when my onions go in there. So it looks pretty good to me. I have medium-high heat for my olive oil. I'm gonna go ahead and put those onions in. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cook these onions down just a little bit, sweat them out. I'm actually gonna put my lid back on here. And I've lowered my heat to about medium-low. I need this to cook down, become a little bit translucent. When that happens, I'm gonna go ahead and add my garlic in at that point. I don't wanna add my garlic in now because it could burn. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm gonna take my cracked wheat. Here it is. I'm going to measure out 1 cup. 1 cup is great for a family of 4. And I actually don't rinse my cracked wheat ahead of time. I feel it changes the taste and the texture. So I'm going to measure 1 cup in here. Okay, and I'm going to check up on my onions. They look great. Give it a little stir. Okay, now at this point, I'm on medium-low heat, and my extra virgin olive oil is actually fine to add at this point. It's not high heat. This will not denature. This is totally fine. So I'm going to add just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and you'll notice this has a much more yellow-green color. This is really going to help with the flavor portfolio of this dish. So definitely use a high-quality extra virgin olive oil. And you can kind of see that nice color going through in my onions. Looks wonderful. This is the only fat source that's going into my dish. So use a good olive oil and use a generous amount of it. Another 2 minutes and I'm going to add my garlic. Now after I add my garlic, I'm going to add just a pinch of my cinnamon. Now I'm actually going to be using a unique ingredient in this one just for health purposes. Our family loves kale, and I love using spinach, kale, anything green. So I'm going to be adding 3/4 of a cup of kale. This is organic frozen kale that I've chopped up. It's got its stems, a lot of good texture in here and nutrition. I'm going to add that in just for some health and for some color. Okay, my onions look great. Here they are. If you take a look. Okay, so they're translucent, looks wonderful. They're starting to kind of brown. They're not burnt, they look great. Okay, in goes the garlic. Okay, so the garlic goes in, 2 to 3 minutes. Let that cook. Perfect, okay. So, 2 minutes for the garlic. I'm gonna add a pinch of my cinnamon. Here it is. Okay, just a pinch. Perfect. Now, next I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of Aleppo pepper. So Aleppo pepper is a chili pepper. It's kind of mild. I'm only going to use half a teaspoon. There it is. In goes my Aleppo pepper. I'm also going to add some mint. It smells wonderful. Some dried mint. Probably a tablespoon. Great. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and add I'm going to give this a quick stir. And then right after that, I'm actually going to add my cracked wheat. I need the grains of cracked wheat to get coated in that oil, and the onions to kind of perfume the cracked wheat. So I'm going to go ahead, here it is, and I'm going to add that in. Okay, so in it goes. Wonderful. It smells fantastic. I can smell the aroma of that mint. It smells wonderful. Those Mediterranean flavors definitely coming into the dish. Okay, so we're going to cook this cracked wheat just for another minute. And then after that, I'm going to add my chickpeas, my kale, and my pepper paste and my tomato paste. Welcome back. Okay, so our cracked wheat has been cooking for about 2 to 3 minutes. Looks great. I want to get the individual grains kind of toasty. Looks wonderful. I love that color. Okay, so next, to this, I'm going to add a tablespoon of my mild pepper paste. Here it is. So 1 tablespoon of my mild pepper paste, and this is basically made from roasted red peppers and maybe a little bit of salt, but nothing else. Okay, there's my 1 tablespoon, in it goes. This just has a wonderful pepper flavor without being spicy. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of my tomato paste. Now, if you don't have the red pepper paste, you can double the quantity of your tomato paste. It's just fine. But try to source out the pepper paste if you can. I actually bought mine on Amazon because I had a hard time finding it. Okay, in goes the tomato paste. And you're going to notice this is going to change the color of our entire dish. It's going to become this bright red. Make sure you break up the paste, both pastes with the back end of your, just like that, the back end of your utensil. It should mix in nicely. Okay. Okay, next I am going to go ahead and add my kale. Here's my kale, in it goes. And my chickpeas. And of course, the chickpeas are for extra protein. In they go. Okay, I'm going to give that a mix. You can see those beautiful colors coming together. Okay, I'm going to put this on really, really low heat, and now I'm going to go ahead and grate my 1 carrot. Coarsely grate it. The carrot's going to give this a wonderfully sweet aroma and just overall profile. It's going to add some sweetness to this without me having to add sugar. And I have washed and just peeled the outside skin of my carrot. And use your whole grater. Start from the top and go all the way down. Okay, that's perfect. So, in goes my carrot. Okay, I'm going to give this a mix. Now you could add some more extra virgin olive oil if you wanted at this stage. For me, I think I've added probably 3 tablespoons of oil. That's good enough, but you can add it now if you want more. Okay, I'm going to let these carrots cook just for another minute. Okay, now we need to flavor this. So, we do need salt and pepper. I have about 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt right here. I'm going to add it in. Okay, we need a fair bit of pepper. So take fresh cracked pepper and add. If you like pepper, add a fair bit. If you don't, maybe just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna give this a mix. Looks great. I love the color of this dish. Okay, and now I'm just gonna cover this for a minute while I go boil my water. So 1 cup of cracked wheat to 2 cups of water, just like rice. Welcome back. Okay, so my hot water is done. If you guys like Mediterranean food, please like my channel. I would love it if you like this episode. Leave me a comment. That would make my day. Thank you guys. So here's my hot water. I'm going to add 2 cups of hot water. Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to give this a stir. Wonderful. Okay, and we're going to cook this like we would rice. So have it come to a boil, which it already is, as you can tell. I'm going to go ahead and simmer it now for about 15 to 20 minutes, as soon as most of that water is absorbed. So I'm going to put this lid on, and it's on the lowest heat possible. So we'll be back in about 15 to 20 minutes, and I will show you how to plate it. Thank you guys so much. Welcome back. This is my son, Ian Kalon. Ian's going to help us taste our dish. But before we get on to the tasting, our dish is done when all the water has evaporated, just like when you're making rice. It might be a little bit stickier than a traditional rice dish, and that's because of all the additional fiber that's in here. Okay, so we're going to open our pot. As you can tell, we know it's done. There's no water at the bottom. You can clearly see that. It looks perfect. It has a wonderful aroma. I can smell that hint of cinnamon and garlic, and I can also smell the aroma of the mint, and I love mint. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plate this, and then I'm going to garnish it. So I took 2 tablespoons of yogurt. If you're vegan, please use coconut yogurt. I salute you. Awesome job. Use soy milk based yogurt, any yogurt that you love. Just put 2 big tablespoons in the center, and then I just flattened it out to make like a little well for the actual cracked wheat. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to add, okay, and this is my friend Fami. He's actually only interested in these almonds, which we'll give it to him later on. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to create like a mound of it. And then I'm going to garnish it with all my other toppings. And you'll see these chickpeas, the carrots, give it this wonderful color and sweetness. I did sample this before. It's salted really well too. And that kale is just for extra nutrition. Okay, I'm going to put this lid back on. Okay, so now this is how we garnish it. So I have some parsley. I need a little bit of a crunch. I'm going to be using some onions. So I'm using these. These are crispy onions. Unlike the ones from the traditional grocery store, this only has one ingredient. It's those onions. The grocery store onions come in this little canned version with some aluminum foil on the top, and they have like 50 different ingredients and so much sodium. So I love this brand. This is from PCC. Okay, so I'm going to add my onions for some crunch. Here they are. Perfect. Okay, next, I actually pressure cooked some lentils. These are some lentils for additional protein. I love protein, plant-based protein. So I'm going to go ahead and add some on top. Great. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of parsley for color. And parsley goes with this dish. This is a Turkish dish. I'm gonna add a little bit of my parsley. Okay, now for an additional crunch, I'm gonna add these almonds. These are toasted, unsalted, dry toasted, slivered almonds. This guy absolutely loves this, and why not let him have some? Go ahead, friend, help yourself. Okay, so this is his most favorite item. He loves cashews. My bird absolutely loves cashews, but second most favorite item are toasted almonds. So I'm going to go ahead and put some toasted almonds on here. You want to help me out there, friend?
Sure.
Sure.
How much should I add?
Just a couple pinches. Right on the top.
That's good.
Wonderful. Okay, one more word. Okay, so these are turnips. They're pickled turnips. I buy these from the grocery store. Sometimes I make these, but if you're gonna buy them, make sure they're not adding any dyes to the turnips. Mine are colored with beets. Beets are great for you. So just check for that. And if you want a link on the brand that I use, I'm happy to send it over. Just message me. Okay, so we're gonna add some turnips for color. Welcome back. So the boy and I are gonna give it a try. So Ian, try some yogurt, try those onions, try the lentils, and then take a big spoon of it. Good job, boy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That is really good.
Thank you. I love the flavor of the mint and cinnamon. And with the yogurt on the side, it's just perfect. Try a turnip. You gotta garnish it with parsley. And you can actually put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil if you want, just on the top.
The turnips kind of taste like pickles.
You like it?
Yeah.
Would you take it?
Really good.
Would you take it to school?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
If it was hot like this, yeah.
Great. Well, another wonderful meal idea for you and your kids and your whole family. This is whole grain, super nutritious, will keep you full for a long time compared to white rice and simple starches. I highly recommend it. And so does my boy Ian. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.